9th November 1914. O Lord, for perfect consciousness we aspire. All the being is gathered into a well-tied sheaf made of various but harmonized flowers. The will was the hand that gathered the flowers, and the tie that bound the sheaf, and it is the will that now holds it out to Thee like a scented offering. To Thee it is held out unweariedly, without faltering. 10th November 1914. O Lord, Thy presence is settled within me like an unshakable rock, and the whole being exults in belonging to Thee without the least reserve, with a wide and complete surrender. O consciousness, immobile and serene, Thou watchest at the confines of the world like the Sphinx of eternity, and yet to some Thou wieldest Thy secret. They can become Thy sovereign will, which chooses without preference, executes without desire. 15th November 1914. The one important thing is the goal to be reached. The road matters little, and often it is preferable not to know it beforehand. But what we need to know is whether the time for the divine action upon earth has really come, and whether the work conceived in the depths can be realized. Of this, O Lord, Thou hast given us the assurance, an assurance which has been accompanied by the most powerful promise that nature, the universal consciousness, can possibly make. Thus, we have the certitude that what must be done will be done, and that our present individual beings are in reality called upon to collaborate in this glorious victory, this new manifestation. What more do we need to know? Nothing. So it is with the greatest confidence that we can witness the formidable fight, the onslaught of the adverse forces, which unknowingly, finally serve in the realization of Thy plan. We would be wrong to feel anxious, because it is not given to us to know how it serves Thy plan and by what means Thou wilt triumph over all resistances. For Thy triumph is so perfect that every obstacle, every ill will, every hatred raised up against Thee is a promise of a still vaster and more complete victory. From the sum of resistances, one can gauge the scope Thou wouldst give to the action of that among Thy pure forces which is coming to manifest upon earth. What opposes is just that upon which it is the mission of these forces to act. It is the darkest hatred which must be touched and transformed into luminous peace. If the human individual thou hast chosen as thy center of action, and thy intermediary meets with few obstacles, few misunderstandings, and little hatred, it means that thou hast entrusted to him a limited mission without any intensity. It is in the narrow circle of already prepared men of goodwill that he will act, and not upon the chaotic and confused mass of terrestrial substance. O Divine Master, this knowledge which thou hast given me, let all of us share, so that the peace of conviction may reign in our hearts, and we may, in the calm of thy sovereign certitude, confront with head held high all that unconsciously attracted to the transfiguration plunges headlong into blind ignorance, believing it will be able to destroy the transfiguring love. November 16, 1914. Thou art like the wind upon the sea, driving the boat back ashore until it is at last loaded with all the goods necessary for the long voyage. Thou wouldst not have us embark thoughtlessly. Thy servitors must be ready for all eventualities, must be capable of answering all demands, satisfying all needs. November 17, 1914. Alas, Sublime Mother, how great must be thy patience! Each time thy conscious will attempts to manifest itself in order to rectify errors, to hasten the uncertain progress of the individual led astray by his own illusion of knowledge, to trace the sure path and give him the strength to walk steadily upon it without stumbling, almost always he pushes thee away as a tiresome and short-sighted adviser. He is willing to love thee in theory with a vague and inconsistent love, but his proud mind refuses to confide in thee and prefers to wander all by itself rather than advance guided by thee. And thou repliest, ever smiling in thy unwearying benevolence, this intellectual faculty which makes man proud and leads him into error is the very same which, once enlightened and purified, can also lead him further, higher than universal nature, to a direct and conscious communion with our Lord, with that which is beyond all manifestation. This dividing intellect, which makes him stand apart from me, also enables him to scale rapidly the heights he must climb, without letting his progress be enchained and delayed by the totality of the universe, which, in its immensity and complexity, cannot effect so swift an ascent. O Divine Mother, always thy word comforts and blesses, calms and illumines, and thy generous hand lifts a fold of the veil hiding the infinite knowledge. How calm, noble, and pure is the splendor of thy perfect contemplation. 20th November 1914. Oh, I would be before Thee, Lord, always like an absolutely blank page, so that Thy will may be written in me without any difficulty, any mixture. The very remembrance of past experiences should sometimes be swept away from the thought, so as not to obstruct this work of perpetual reconstruction, which alone, in a world of relativities, permits Thy perfect manifestation. Often one clings to that which was, fearing to lose the result of a precious experience, to give up a vast and high consciousness, to fall back into a lower state. And yet, what should he fear who is thine? Can he not walk with joyful soul and illumined brow upon the path thou tracest for him, whatever it may be, even if this path be altogether incomprehensible to his limited reason? O Lord, break the old frames of thought, abolish past experiences, dissolve the conscious synthesis if thou thinkest it necessary, so that thy work may be accomplished better and better. Thy service upon earth be perfected. November 21st, 1914. O Lord, Thou hast given me Thy power, that Thy peace and joy may reign over the world. And this being is now only an embrace of peace enveloping the whole earth, an ocean of joy breaking over all things. O you who are full of hatred, rancor shall be effaced from your hearts, as the sea effaces an imprint upon the sands. O you who feed upon vengeance, peace shall pass into your hearts, as it enters the soul of a child rocked by its mother. For the divine and universal Mother has turned her gaze upon the earth, and she has blessed it.